Can you believe it? When the invisible woman became the most powerful person in the room, no one, not a single soul, saw it coming. The office at Hawthorne and Beck was already buzzing like a beehive with the chaotic energy of the early morning rush. Phones ringing off the hook, heels clicking on the polished floors, and coffee cups clattering. Yet, amidst all that noise, no one noticed Evelyn as she slipped in through the side door, her trusty cleaning cart rolling behind her with that steady, rhythmic pace she'd perfected over the years. She wore her dark green uniform like it was armor. Seriously, who could have guessed it hid so much strength? Her face calm and unassuming, not a flicker of the storm of emotions she kept locked away deep inside. To the high and mighty executives strutting around in their tailored suits, she was invisible. Just the cleaning lady, the one who wiped down their fancy desks, emptied their overflowing trash cans, and maybe, if they were feeling generous, got a half-hearted nod from the few who even bothered to acknowledge she existed. Can you imagine living like that, day after day? It had been this way for years at Hawthorne and Beck, a powerhouse corporation smack dab in the heart of Dallas, Texas, a city of big dreams and even bigger egos. Evelyn, now in her mid-50s, had gotten used to the grind, the sidelong dismissive glances that stung like paper cuts. Oh, she'd overheard their cruel little jokes when they thought she wasn't listening, those snide remarks about her quiet presence. She's not even doing anything right now. Someone had grumbled just last week, their voice dripping with irritation as she stood patiently in the shadows, waiting for them to wrap up their oh-so-important meeting so she could clean the conference room. Did they think she was deaf? But Evelyn didn't react. No way. She never did. She kept her head down, her hands steady as she scrubbed and polished, refusing to give them the tiniest hint of satisfaction. Why would she? She was smarter than that, tougher than they could ever imagine. But here's the kicker, what they didn't know, what no one in that shiny, soulless office had the faintest clue about, was that Evelyn was hiding a secret so explosive it could flip the entire building upside down. Was she impulsive? Heck no. Evelyn believed in patience. Oh, how she trusted in the power of watching, waiting, biding her time like a chess master plotting her next move. Today, though, as she pushed her cart down those brightly lit hallways, her calm exterior was a mask. Can you feel the tension? Because deep down, she was teetering on the edge of her breaking point. Something was brewing, something big. The morning unfolded like clockwork. Evelyn polished the glass doors until they sparkled like diamonds. Seriously, who else could make them shine like that? Vacuumed the thick lobby carpet with precision, and tackled the cluttered desks of those careless executives who never gave a second thought to the mess they left behind. She worked hard, her focus unbreakable, even as their loud chatter about multi-million-dollar deals and shiny promotions floated through the air like background music. But then, oh then, one conversation snagged her attention like a fishhook. She wasn't trying to eavesdrop, honest, it just wasn't her style, but those voices, they were loud, brash, impossible to tune out. The shareholders' meeting is next week. One executive boasted, his tone so smug it practically oozed arrogance. And we've got nothing to worry about. The board loves the numbers and the CEO? Untouchable. No one in their right mind would dare challenge him. Evelyn froze for a split second, her grip tightening on the cart handle. Did they really believe that? She knew what they didn't. Oh, how wrong they were. But she didn't linger on it. Why waste the energy? Because there was still work to do, and she had to be ready. Ready for what, you ask? Just wait. Hawthorne and Beck loved to flaunt its sleek modern image. Didn't they ever tire of bragging? Its headquarters, a towering glass giant piercing the Dallas skyline, popped up in all those glossy business magazines as the poster child of corporate success. But inside? Oh, inside was a different story. A gritty, unglamorous reality far from the polished facade. The culture was cutthroat, ruthless to the core. The higher you climbed that corporate ladder, the less you seemed to care about the little people scrambling below. Evelyn had spent nearly a decade in those hallways. Can you imagine the things she'd seen? Quietly observing like a ghost, no one bothered to notice. She watched promotions handed out to the loudmouths, the schmoozers, not the honest workers who actually deserved it. She caught the hush deals whispered behind closed doors, the sneaky way they'd pin their screw-ups on those too powerless to fight back. How could they sleep at night? And then there was the CEO, Alan Greaves, talk about a piece of work. This guy oozed authority and arrogance like it was his birthright. He ruled with fear, yes, fear. His booming voice silencing even the boldest executives in meetings. His sharp, biting comments cutting through the room like a knife. To Alan, success was everything, and people, mere tools to be used and tossed aside. Evelyn had heard his snarky jabs too many times. Oh, how they grated on her. She's still here? She once caught him sneering about one of the older secretaries, his tone dripping with disdain. Why haven't we retired her yet? It's not like she's adding value. Can you believe the nerve? But it wasn't just his words. Oh no, it ran deeper. The company was a cesspool of unethical garbage, all swept under the rug like it was no big deal. Bonuses for the lower-level staff slashed quietly, while the leadership team popped champagne over record profits. Evelyn knew about the inflated expense reports, the shady client dealings, even the hush-hush firing of a brave whistleblower who dared to call it out. How? Could they think no one noticed? The cleaning staff, Evelyn included, took the hardest hits from this toxic culture. She'd seen her co-workers, good, hard-working people, reduced to tears after being chewed out for a speck of dust. She'd watched their paychecks flatline while the workload piled higher and higher. And the worst part? The constant erasure of their humanity, people avoiding eye contact, talking down to them, treating them like they were just furniture. Can you feel the injustice? One moment still burned in Evelyn's memory like a brand. A young intern, poor kid, spilled coffee on the marble floor near Alan's office, his hands trembling as he froze in terror. Alan stormed around the corner, his face twisted with rage. "Are you kidding me?" he snapped, his eyes darting to Evelyn, who'd just walked by with her mop and bucket. "Clean this up." He barked at her as if she'd caused the mess. She didn't say a word, why bother, but oh, how it stung. The intern stammered apologies, but Alan brushed him off with a flick of his hand. To him, people like Evelyn and that kid were nothing more than background noise. These moments stacked up over the years, each one a heavy stone piling onto an already towering mountain. Evelyn's patience was incredible, honestly. How did she stand it? But even she wasn't immune to the weight crushing down on her. The sting of disrespect, the bone-deep exhaustion of being invisible. It hurt. But crumble? Never. She let those slights fuel her, storing them like ammunition for the day she'd fire back. The employees around her might have missed the power in her silence, but oh, it roared. She was always watching, always listening. Did they have any idea? And the more she saw, the clearer it became. This company's success was built on the broken backs of its humanity. But Evelyn wasn't just sitting there sulking, no way. She was planning, scheming, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. For years, she guarded her secret like a treasure, not out of fear, but pure, brilliant strategy. She wasn't just a cleaning lady. Oh, how they'd underestimated her. She was the largest shareholder in Hawthorne and Beck. Can you even fathom it? She'd inherited that title after her late husband, Martin, passed away unexpectedly, a quiet investor who'd snapped up shares back when no one believed in the company's future. By the time he died, those shares had grown into a controlling stake. Talk about a twist of fate. At first, Evelyn was lost. Can you blame her? She wasn't some corporate hotshot or boardroom shark. She was just Evelyn, a woman who'd raised 2 kids, battled life's curveballs, and found comfort in the steady rhythm of her daily routine. But over time, as she scrubbed floors and dusted shelves, she started to see the gold mine she'd been handed. Being invisible? It was her superpower. She could watch without being seen, listen without raising an eyebrow, and soak up every dirty little secret about the people who thought they were untouchable. How brilliant is that? The moment that finally snapped her came on a routine evening shift. She'd just finished wiping down the executive lounge spotless, as always, when she overheard two senior managers cackling over their fancy drinks. They were joking about layoffs, like it was some hilarious game. Some of these people act like their jobs matter. One of them chuckled, his voice slimy with glee. They don't realize how replaceable they are. Evelyn froze behind the door, her hand clenching the cleaning cloth so hard her knuckles whitened. These weren't just numbers, they were people. Families. Dreams. And to these heartless suits, they were nothing but trash to toss out. That night, Evelyn sat at her tiny kitchen table, a steaming cup of tea in hand and a notepad in front of her. She started writing, scribbling furiously, not sure where it'd take her, but knowing she couldn't stay quiet anymore. She jotted down every unethical trick she'd witnessed, every person they'd trampled, every moment that had seared itself into her soul. By sunrise, can you picture it? She'd mapped out a plan that would shake everything to its core. Step 1, dig deeper. Evelyn turned her access to the building into a weapon, gathering intel most people wouldn't even blink at. She memorized conversations, tracked schedules, even peeked at papers carelessly left on desks, not stealing, just observing. Step 2, reinforcements. She called up her trusted crew outside the company, lawyers, financial whizzes, ex-employees with axes to grind, spilling everything and begging for advice. Together, they built a strategy to expose the rot and save the company's soul. Step 3, the toughest yet, was gearing up to face Alan and the board. Evidence wasn't enough. She needed guts, grit, and an unshakable belief in herself. She practiced her speech in the mirror. Oh, how her voice rang, knowing this wasn't just for her, but for every invisible soul they'd ever crushed. The shareholders' meeting loomed, and Evelyn was ready to rewrite history. She wasn't just a cleaning lady anymore. She held the company's fate in her hands. Can you feel the anticipation? The day arrived, and she pushed her cart toward the top-floor boardroom, her heart pounding but her face serene. Alan sat at the head of the table, smirking like a king. Little did he know. "Excuse me," she said, her voice slicing through the air. Alan barely looked up. "We're busy," he sneered. "I know," she fired back, unflinching. "That's why I'm here." And then bam! She dropped her folder on the table, the truth spilling out like a tidal wave. "I'm the majority shareholder," she declared, "and I'm firing you." The room exploded. Can you imagine the chaos? But Evelyn stood tall, her quiet strength toppling their empire of arrogance at last. Oh, the final step. Can you imagine how tough it was? Evelyn knew deep in her bones that confronting the CEO and the board wasn't just about slapping some evidence on the table. No way. It demanded courage, unshakable composure, and a fierce, burning belief in her own worth, something she'd had to fight to hold on to after years in the shadows. She stood in front of her cracked bathroom mirror, practicing her speech, her voice steady but firm, echoing off the tiles like a battle cry. Did she waver? Not a chance. She knew this wasn't just about her. Oh no, it was for every single person who'd ever been dismissed, underestimated, or treated like they were less than human. Can you feel the weight of that? The shareholders' meeting was barreling toward her, less than a week away. Talk about pressure. But Evelyn? She was ready to storm in and rewrite the rules. She wasn't just some cleaning lady anymore. She was walking into that room as the one holding the future of Hawthorne and Beck in her calloused hands. But as the big day crept closer, didn't she feel it, the crushing weight of what she was about to unleash? This wasn't just a confrontation, it was a reckoning, a thunderous clash that would shake the foundations of everything they thought they knew. And then it arrived, the day of the shareholders' meeting. The building practically hummed with an air of smug confidence. Executives strutted through the hallways like peacocks. Can you picture it? their chatter bursting with optimism about another year of fat profits, their egos puffed up to the ceiling. Did they notice Evelyn pushing her cleaning cart toward the top-floor conference room, her face as calm and unreadable as a still lake? Not a chance. To them, she was invisible, always had been. The boardroom itself was a world apart from the rest of the office. Oh, how it gleamed! Its long, polished tables shone under soft lighting, and those floor-to-ceiling windows framed the Dallas skyline like a postcard. Around that table sat the company's big shots, with Alan Greaves at the head, his posture screaming power, his smirk dripping with arrogance. Did he have any idea what was coming? Evelyn slipped in quietly, as she always did, placing a pitcher of water on the side table with a soft clink. Did anyone look at her? Nope. To them, she was just part of the furniture background noise. But this time, Evelyn didn't slink away. "Excuse me," she said, her voice slicing through the room like a razor-sharp blade. Heads whipped around, confused, annoyed. Who does she think she is? Alan barely flicked his eyes her way. "We're in the middle of something," he snapped, his tone dripping with dismissal. "I know," Evelyn shot back, steady and firm. Did he hear the steel in her voice? "That's why I'm here." Alan leaned back in his chair, that condescending smile spreading across his face like a stain. "Unless you're here to clean up after us, I suggest you leave." Can you believe the gall? But Evelyn? She didn't flinch, not for a second. Instead, she stepped forward, bold as brass, and pulled a folder from her cart, slamming it onto the table with a thud that echoed. The logo of Hawthorne and Beck blazed on the front, right next to the words, "Shareholders report talk about a power move." The room fell dead silent. Alan's smirk wobbled. Did he feel the ground shifting as Evelyn opened her mouth? "For years, I've watched this company thrive on the backs of people you refuse to see," she declared, her voice unwavering, ringing with truth. "I've watched employees mistreated, ethical lines cross-smashed to bits and profits shoved ahead of humanity. And I've stayed quiet until now." Can you feel the fire in her words? Murmurs erupted around the table, shock, disbelief. What's happening? One board member leaned forward, squinting at the folder like it might bite him. "What is this?" he demanded. "This," Evelyn said, flipping it open with a flourish, "is proof. Proof of the unethical practices, the mismanagement, the outright disregard for the people who keep this place running." Alan's voice boomed across the room, desperate now. "Who do you think you are, coming in here and making accusations? You're a cleaning lady." Evelyn locked eyes with him, her calmness a force that rattled the walls. "No, Mr. Greaves," she said, slow and deliberate. "I'm the majority shareholder of Hawthorne and Beck. And today, today, I'm firing you. Can you even imagine the bombshell that dropped?" The shock hit like a thunderclap boom, rippling through the room. Alan's face drained of color, his cocky demeanor crumbling like a house of cards. "You're joking," he stammered, his voice trembling. Did he really think she'd back down? Evelyn didn't blink. "No, Mr. Greaves, I'm not." She turned to the board, her gaze sharp as a hawk's. "I've spent years gathering evidence, years, and it's all here. The inflated expense reports, the unethical layoffs, the harassment complaints you've buried under your fancy rugs. I have the power to vote him out, and I'm using it right now. Did they see the storm she'd unleashed?" The room exploded into chaos, shouting, gasping, pure pandemonium. Alan tried to argue, his voice climbing higher with desperation, pathetic, but the board members caught on fast. One by one, they turned to Evelyn. Can you believe it? Peppering her with questions, flipping through the folder, confirming every damning detail. She'd laid bare. The vote didn't take long, why would it? Evelyn had done her homework, and her evidence was ironclad, no room for doubt. That very afternoon, Alan Greaves was outgone, his protests fading into nothing as security hauled him out of the building. Can you picture his face? Evelyn stood tall in the boardroom, her back straight, her expression calm. Did she even break a sweat? The executives who'd once ignored her now stared, jaws dropped, a mix of awe and guilt plastered across their faces. But Evelyn? She didn't care about their approval, oh no. She was already looking ahead, her mind racing with what came next. The news of Alan's dismissal spread like wildfire through the company. By the next morning, the office was buzzing, absolutely electric, with disbelief and wild speculation. How could it be? The cleaning lady quiet, unassuming Evelyn, the majority shareholder all along? Whispers filled the break rooms and hallways, but this time they weren't snide. They were laced with respect, admiration, even a pinch of guilt. Didn't they owe her that? But Evelyn didn't soak up the spotlight, no way. She marched back into the office the next day, not with a mop and bucket, but with a clipboard and a plan. Talk about a transformation. She wasn't just there to axe a toxic CEO. Oh, her sights were higher. She was there to rewrite the company's future. In the weeks that followed, she worked like a whirlwind, tireless, starting with the people who'd been invisible for years. Raises for the cleaning staff and the overlooked workers finally. She made damn sure HR took harassment and discrimination seriously, bringing in a third-party watchdog to keep things honest. Transparency at last. She tackled the toxic culture Alan had festered, holding the board, once his cronies, accountable, training programs on ethics, inclusion, employee well-being. She demanded them regularly. For the first time in years, people at Hawthorne and Beck felt seen, heard, valued. Can you imagine the relief? But Evelyn didn't stop. Why would she? She threw open the doors to town hall meetings, inviting everyone, every level, to spill their experiences, their ideas. She listened, really listened, scribbling notes, making sure every voice shaped the future. One afternoon, as she strolled through the office, that young intern, the one who'd spilled coffee near Alan's office months back, stopped her. "Thank you," he said, his voice thick with sincerity, "for everything. You've changed this place." Evelyn's warm smile lit up the room. "No," she said softly, "we've changed this place together." Isn't that beautiful? Outside, the Dallas skyline sparkled in the late afternoon sun, gorgeous. Evelyn paused, gazing up at the towering glass building she'd once slipped into unnoticed. What a road it'd been, long, brutal, triumphant. She'd done the impossible seriously. Who'd have thought? This wasn't just about firing a CEO or exposing corruption. No, it was bigger. It was about proving that even the most invisible among us can wield power to spark real change. Evelyn showed the world that resilience, patience, and integrity could crush arrogance and greed. Take that. She took a deep breath. Oh, the peace she felt, a calm she hadn't known in years. And then she walked away, not to vanish, but to step boldly into a new chapter. Life loves to underestimate the quiet ones, doesn't it? Those who watch, endure, and strike when the moment's right. Evelyn's story screams that the most unexpected people can ignite massive change. Inspired yet? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more tales of resilience and justice. Because who doesn't need that? Oh, Evelyn's story hits me right in the gut. It's a blazing testament to the quiet strength that so many of us overlook every single day. I'm furious at how society treats people like her, the invisible ones who keep the world running. Cleaning ladies, janitors, the folks we pass without a second glance. Why do we let arrogance and greed stomp all over human dignity? It's disgusting. The way those executives at Hawthorne and Beck dismissed her, acting like she was less than human just because she wore a uniform, it makes my blood boil. We've built a world where your worth is tied to your title, your paycheck, your swagger, and I'm sick of it. But Evelyn, she's my hero, seriously. That patience, that resilience, it's raw, beautiful, and fierce. I'm in awe of how she turned their ignorance into her weapon, proving that power doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers until the perfect moment to roar. It makes me think how many others are out there, silently enduring, waiting to rise. We need to wake up, stop bowing to the Allens of the world, and start seeing the Evelyns. I believe everyone deserves respect, not just the loudmouths in corner offices. Why can't we value hard work, integrity, and kindness over flashy egos? This isn't just a story, it's a wake-up call. I'm inspired to live with more grit, to notice the overlooked, and to fight for a world where no one's dismissed as just anything. Evelyn didn't just change a company, she showed us what's possible when you refuse to let the world define you. Damn, that's a lifestyle I want to chase, bold, quiet, and unstoppable.